Right, got it back together. I greased everything up. Now there's a simpler instruction to get these right. I think the manual can cause a bit of confusion. Basically, strip all the valves out, clean everything up, and then what I do is I put the shaft in and put the locking screw in. Do that first, and then according to the synchronization, you pull this shaft out fully like that. And you want to make sure that the idler gear and the right hand side exhaust valve, make sure you get the valves around the right way, the two pins are lined up. Alright, so those two marks are lined up. That's with this valve fully out. This valve here, there's a stamp on the gear that's facing straight forward to the engine. Now the one I had a little bit of trouble with was this exhaust valve, the one at the front that's out of view. There's a flat on it, and with this valve fully extended, that flat should be horizontal to the top of the bike. So it's sitting like that at the moment, and when I push the shaft in, it rotates like that. So fully out, that's flat. And you can check that also by pulling the exhaust valve out, looking into the exhaust port and making sure that there's a sleeve that rotates, and that's clear at the top of the exhaust port. So the port wants to be at its highest position with this valve out. When you close it, it brings a sort of like a sweeps an arc round and blocks the top of the exhaust port off. So that's basically it. That's up and nice and running and nice and smooth. The next thing to do is just I'm going to clean all the head gasket surface up, wipe the bore out to make sure there's no debris in there. I'll bolt in the front exhaust valve as well, and not forgetting its little horseshoe clip that fits in there. So I'm going to start doing that now. Hopefully I've got replacement gaskets for all this. I did buy a gasket set about a year ago. So this is the front cover for the exhaust valve. It's pretty clean in there, but I'm going to just put some grease in there as well. And this is the cap for the valve, so I just want to make sure that's all nice and clean. Drop a bit of that molybdenum grease in there, or desulfide grease, or whatever it is. Not forgetting the horseshoe thing that I put safely on the top of the chair. So don't forget that thing, the little horseshoe, I like to call it. Fiddle to get that back in again. Assembly's not quite square in. The O-ring's not snappy like. That's good. There's this horseshoe clip thing in. Greased this up. Now there is a gasket for this. I need to put that back on. Hope this supplies the gasket. Doesn't look like we do. It's nice of them. I think there was a gasket on there. Maybe there wasn't. It was just an O-ring. No, I think that was just an O-ring actually. Okay. So the next part is to find the bolts. With that. 1, 2, a bit of grease around the, because there's a seal around the edge of this shaft, that metal there, so you just need to probably just do a screwdriver and just do one arc around there just to scrape off any crap that's around the edges. Find a screwdriver. I had a screwdriver here a minute ago. Basically what we'll do is just an arc around there. You can see all the white corrosion coming off that you get from aluminium. Nice and clean still. That's alright. Put that back on. Fiddle. What I'll do is I'll start the bolts. I think it probably, in hindsight, if you're going to take the barrel apart, engine apart, it is worth doing it with the head off the bike, with the barrel off the bike. Obviously, if you do that, you need to be very careful. You have to replace the base gasket. Then also have to be very careful you don't break any rings. I don't like disturbing, is this just me? No one else ever worries. But I don't like removing barrels unless there has to be, because I just don't like disturbing the rings. I know on the 2-stroke they're pegged so they don't change position, but on a 4-stroke it was the chance that if the ring's in a slightly different position, it's worn slightly, you're going to lose a bit of compression, get a bit of blow-by past the rings, because the rings don't always wear totally evenly. And as does the bore, the bore will wear slightly oval due to the fact of the way the crankshaft and the piston sort of want to try and move that way in the bore when you're running. So it tends to wear more of an oval shape. So if you get those rings in a slightly different position and it's done a few miles, there's a chance that you won't get the same compression. You might get high oil consumption and a bit of blow-by, low compression. So that's why I don't really like to disturb rings on the bike at all. As I say, it's not so important with 2-strokes, they're pegged rings. The reason why they're pegged is to prevent the ring openings passing the exhaust port and some of the other ports that are in the barrel and snapping. So that's why they peg them, to keep them in position. I'm surprised they don't do it in a 4-stroke really, but I suppose there's no need to. Just tighten this up a bit, stage by stage, one side at a time. It pulls up square, not putting any stress on anything. Check out the bells to make sure they still work. Just going to give it a little tap again just to make sure it's seating properly. A gentle tap, so I'm not making sure it's nicely seated. Seems to be doing that right. Tightened up. All valves move nice and freely. And jamming like it was before. Right, so the next point is to clean the surface of the head and the top of the barrel up. And for that I need some clean petrol. So dispose of the, I'm just going to dispose of the old petrol. We set fire to it in the garden, it's pretty easy still. Right. Almost trod on all the gaskets. Good idea, isn't it? Okay. All the grease and crap off the top of the barrel, including those bolts that are a bit furry, all the gunge off them. Bore out with a cleanish area of rag. I don't want any dust or crap in the bore, because this is a nitrile bore, which basically means it's a coated bore, electroplated bore, so the bore can't be rebored. So there's the top of the piston. I'm not going to decoat anything on top of the piston. The piston is very clean actually, because the bike is now actually running very quite lean in the low speed range. When I sort of drive into work and stuff like that, it drives nicely. It doesn't have that two-stroke splatter of slightly running a little bit rich. That keeps the, as you see, the piston's nice and clean. The problem always is in the exhaust port where all the crap goes out. This is where you always run into problems with carbon build-up, and it was, I must admit, much more carboned up than I was expecting. Let's get a little bit of rag. Okay, so the head's clean. And I'll go over with just to check everywhere. If anything that might be paying particular attention around the water jacket holes where the water runs through the jacket of the cylinder, and anywhere else where it's close to the edge of the cylinder, so we don't get combustion leaks. Okay. Next step, chuck the head gasket on. Sorting the gaskets out quickly. Okay, so head gasket. Obviously when you put the gasket on, make sure you put it up the right way. Just check before you put it on. So there's the two holes for the valves. And just check you're not blocking or obstructing any water jackets. I mean, it would seem obvious that, you know, if you've got the right gasket, you won't have that problem, but some of these aftermarket gaskets aren't that great. Don't force the gasket, because this particular gasket's a metal gasket. You need to just carefully tease it on there, get it square so it doesn't jam up on the threads. There we go, like that. Just one more check, make sure it's all clean. It is. And you can just proceed by putting the cylinder head on. Don't scratch the barrel when you put it down on the studs, on the top of the head when you put it down the studs, just lower it down nicely. Okay, good. Right, the next procedure, I'm going to grease up the bolts, and then I'm going to grab a torque wrench and we'll start tightening the heads down. Okay, this is copper grease. I'm going to put a double copper grease on all the threads. Doesn't need a lot, but it will prevent them seizing, and it will also make it a lot easier to get an accurate torque figure when you tighten the head bolts down. Now, you can do these up if you've had experience with bolts and things before. You don't always need a torque wrench. It is sort of common sense how to do things, but I would always recommend, unless it's as a real last resort, to use a torque wrench. Certainly for things like this, where it's aluminium castings involved, you can distort things if you over tighten them, and likewise if you're not tight enough you can have your gaskets fail and things like that. So there's the copper grease on. The next step is to get the bolts and the nuts, sorry. It's the Baskervilles. Okay. Right, so those bolts, those nuts are going to be tightened down just so it holds the head in position. So finger tight, pull the nuts down. It's a bit of an awkward one to get to, so I'm not actually tightening it down, I'm just driving it down the thread, but because of the casting shape I can't get to it properly. Okay, that's nipped down. All the others are nipped down. Now there is probably a tightening sequence in the manual, but I'm going to use a bit of common sense. So this down. Pulled up properly, it does. Okay. So the next stage is to torque it up. So let's get the torque figures. Okay, the head has to be torqued down to 18 foot-pound in one hit. So what we've got in here, foot-pound. This is the torque wrench I'm going to be using, an old Norbar. That's 18 foot-pound. Right. Start in the middle. Actually, where's that long socket gone? Start here. I'm just going to tighten them up gently first, just so they're nipped up. Right, let's start the tightening sequence. This one first. Hear the click. Next one. 2. And I'm going to go 3 here. I'm going to go 4 here. I'm going to go 5 here. I'm going to go 6 here. I'm going to go around again. 1, tight. 2, tight. Sorry, I'm going to go here. 3. 4. Missed this one, that's great, isn't it? 5. 6. I'm just going to go around them all in a circle now. That's it. Always wind down the torque wrench when you're finished. Okay. For the time being, next I'll put the plug back in. Just see that plug there. Let's just get it in view so you can see it. It's a pretty good nick, as you can see. Nice burning, nice colour. A bit close to the camera. Can't see it a lot, I must admit. But pretty good. That plug. So I'm going to put that back in. Nip the plug up without going mad. It's quite a deep thready plug, so it'd be hard to strip the thread out of one of these, but I tend not to do that very tight anyway, just nip them up. Right. So basically from here on it's just putting it all back together. Must be an old plug because it's got a removable cap. I haven't seen one of those for a while. Okay, and the old original plug cap. I haven't changed that because the bike always runs in the rain. It's never caused a problem, so I'm loath to change it. The mechanism's nice and smooth. That's working well. So the next thing to do is locate this, remembering it's left-hand thread on the top of the nut. I forgot straight away. There you go. back that up. There we go. It's a bit greasy, a bit slow to return, but I think once it's been running for a while, it'll sort itself out. It's certainly not stiff. So that's back in. So the next step to do is to, well, basically that's the job done. I'm going to put it back together. If you want to continue watching, that's up to you, but I'm going to start bolting the bike back together now. Most of it's sort of pretty obvious. I hope it was some use if you've got one of these old Kawasaki's, and thanks for watching. All those who want to carry on watching, obviously got nothing better to do. So, let's start bolting it back together. Nope. So that's one of those. That's right. Sort it out. There we go. Put this there. Mounts.